I'm Rich McMahon. I'm your guest host for the evening. This is the regular meeting of the Council of the Township of Montclair, and it's being broadcast live on Channel 34 and streaming live on Montclair TV 34 YouTube channel. It is available on demand and can and will be broadcast. This is a regular meeting of the Council of the Township. Oh, that's the same thing. All right. Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor McMahon.
Here.
Mayor Jackson.
Present.
Councilor Baskerville.
Present.
Councilor Hurlock.
Present.
Councilor Schlager.
Here.
Councilor Spiller.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to go slightly out of order from the agenda. We have two proclamations. I understand Ruth Taylor is not here. Okay. Is anyone here from the Montclair Child Development? Renee, would you like to take care of that?
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
At this point in time, I'd like to ask, please, the MCDC family to join me down at the podium.
Got it. Thank you. Around here this way, because they're coming from that. Come on in. This proclamation is from the Township of Montclair, honoring the Montclair Child Development Center on its 50th anniversary. Whereas Montclair Child Development Center Incorporated, known as MCDC, celebrated the 50th anniversary of its incorporation as it celebrated MCDC 50th event on November 7th, 2019, and whereas the incorporation came in response to the community's need for quality prenatal, infant, and toddler services, and began with 75 children formerly served by the County of Essex via the Montclair Board of Education. And whereas the mission of Montclair Child Development Center Incorporated is to provide successful encounters that will embrace the child, empower the family, and strengthen the community. Over the past 50 years, MCDC has expanded its reach to neighboring communities outside of Montclair and now serves 5 municipalities and almost 500 children. And whereas the dedicated women and men of MCDC have strengthened the Montclair community by providing the most economically disadvantaged families with invaluable services for expectant moms, young children from birth to age 5, and whereas MCDC prides itself on ensuring healthy cognitive, physical, and social emotional development of infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. Children who attend MCDC are enriched with an early education and tools to help them develop and excel in life. Montclair is proud to have MCDC as part of our community and applauds its accomplishments. Whereas staff and administration at MCDC place great emphasis on the academic, social, and emotional well-being of each child. Since 1969, approximately 10,000 children have graduated from MCDC and have gone on to make a lasting impact in our community. Now, therefore, by virtue of this proclamation, the Council of the Great Township of Montclair hereby extends sincere congratulations to Montclair Child Development Center, Inc., in honor of its 50th anniversary. We offer our We offer our sincere respect, gratitude, and admiration to the women and men of MCDC for their commitment and dedication to embrace the children, empower the family, and strengthen the community. And I so move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
It gives me a great honor to, at the same time, also acknowledge and celebrate the birthday of one of the board members, Mr. Ron Murphy, known to all of us better as Baba Murphy. He's been there the whole time with this, but he's a pillar in the community. And when we were growing up, Baba Murphy had a sandwich store that was over there on, what was it, Forest Street. And many of us, just as many people now that live in the south end of town, walk to and from school, and you had to go past Baba Murphy's sandwich stop. And this was a gentleman there that looked out for all of the children in the neighborhood. And if you were walking past there, if you ever didn't have lunch or didn't have lunch money, he would welcome all children in and offer them a sandwich or a place to stay, or, you know, if your mom or dad or somebody was late picking you up, he would be the place, invite you in, sit down, do your homework or whatever. So I'd like to recognize this pillar in the community. They don't get any better than this. He's on the board. It's his birthday, so let's acknowledge him and the great family of the Montclair Child Development Center. And I'd like to ask the executive director, Ms. Tanya Poteet, if she would share with us. And thank you so much for, you know, what you're continuing to do in our community. We need Head Start as much now as we ever needed it, giving our young people a healthy start. And I'm very fortunate to serve on their health advisory board for a long time. Mother Mayor, who's part of the MCDC family, is not here. She chairs the Health Advisory Committee. So it's my honor and privilege just to be here with you guys, and personally, thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And I would like to also thank the mayor, of course, Mayor Jackson, and the council for this recognition. We are so very proud to celebrate 50 years in this wonderful community of Montclair and to represent tens of thousands of children that have gone through our program. I'm joined tonight by our former executive director, Catherine Nicholas, who served as well as Rosalind Terry, who's our chief operating officer, Ms. Catherine Curry, who's our vice president of our board, and as Councilwoman Baskerville stated, Mr. Murphy, who's the chairman of our board. So thank you again. And as I look at all the children in the audience, keep showing up at council meetings.
Yeah.
Keep expressing your opinions. It's wonderful to see you in the audience.
Yes.
And I wish you well in whatever you're here for this evening. Thank you so much.
Dad, I have something for you.
Just real quick.
Thank you so very much.
And then I would like to give this to Mayor Jackson.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming out. You're welcome.
Congratulations, and please keep up the good work. All right, we're going to go to public comment. All speakers must come. Do you want to read it? Okay, we have a proclamation for Ruth Taylor. She's not here to accept it, but we might as well move it in. I so move. All those in favor?
Aye.
And her dedication to the township is second to none, so there's, you know, that goes without saying. And at some point, we'll hopefully be able to do this in person. Okay.
This
Now we'll-
proclamation that we just read in to the record, because I know many of you would be very interested in knowing, is for Ruth Taylor, who has chaired the Landlord-Tenant Committee for decades and done an incredible job, and she recently stepped down, and we have a new chair. But Deputy Mayor, if I may, I just want to let them know, and can we just give her a round of applause because this group has always done incredible things to help people that are in difficult times with housing in Montclair, and Ms. Taylor has been there doing a lot of the work and paving the way for many of us to be in position as we are today, still grappling with how we address situations that are difficult with housing. So I personally thank her. I had the opportunity of serving on the Landlord-Tenant Commission with her prior to becoming a councilwoman.
Thank you, Renee.
And,
All right.
Deputy Mayor,
Yes,
if I can add just one more thing.
Please.
And as an aside, Ms. Taylor's late husband, Rick Taylor, was one of my first and the mayor's first football coaches back 10 years ago. No. Well, when we played with the Eagles, so big Rick Taylor. So she has indeed, and that family has indeed been a pillar of this community for quite a while. And the next generation, Brandon Taylor, is a recently sworn in policeman. So it continues. Thank you.
okay. Welcome, Sean. All right, back to public comment. All speakers must complete the sign-in sheet, which is right there with the lady signing in, before addressing the council. If you're an individual, please limit yourself to 3 minutes. If you represent an organization, we'll give you 5. If you're here for a specific ordinance, for example, the plastic bag ordinance, you'll have a chance to speak when we bring the ordinance up, so you might want to wait till the relevant time. So who's first?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Tanisha Greer. I'm a resident on Central Avenue. I just wanted to speak about, personally, my need for rent control or rent subsidy. I fell in love with the town of Montclair back in 1994 when I moved here to attend Montclair State to study history education. I really fell in love. I'm from Clifton, but, you know, Montclair was a different world. I raised a lovely daughter here. I still have 2 more in the public schools, one in 7th grade and one in the high school. In the past 2 years, I've seen many neighbors move, run into them while the moving trucks are like, where are you going? Move. Their rent increased $400 or $500 in 1 year. And then one day I got a notice that my rent was increasing $350. And I'm a public school teacher, a single mom, with 2 adopted daughters. So I said, okay, well, we're going to work this out. We're going to manage it. Then I received a notice that I was responsible for now my water and sewage. Okay, fine, I use it. I should pay for it. Another notice, my rent increased again, $250. So now, with my public school teaching salary, I spend more than 1 paycheck paying rent. And I couldn't wrap my head around how a beautiful apartment that I rented, how 1 year it was worth $1,450, and then in 2 years now it's $2,300 out of the blue. No upgrades or anything, just, and it was, the market in the area went up. And yeah, there were some beautiful houses renovated, and they're lovely, and they're selling for $800,000, $900,000, but I chose the neighborhood because I can afford it. I think my children deserve to finish school here in Montclair. I'm not worried about myself. I can move anywhere. My mom had to move out of Montclair. She lives in Bloomfield. I'll move to Bloomfield. My daughter should not have to leave where they've known their whole life. They should be able to graduate from Montclair Public Schools. My kids should be able to maintain their activities, travel, sports, everything that we've built here. I want them to stay here. I'll move once my last one's in her senior year. But my kids deserve to stay here, and they deserve to graduate from Montclair High School. And they deserve to continue to play travel softball, to go to School of Rock, Montclair film activities. And I make the sacrifice. And that's all I can say. My children deserve to continue to stay here, and I will, whatever I need to do to keep us here. But paying beyond $2,500 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment is, I think, it's a lot, and especially to go that high within a 2-year period. And you know, I'm a public school teacher. My salary is not increasing that much. I'm still working without a contract. So that's the position that I am. And trying to prepare my girls that you might have to leave. And I work in a school district where several kids from Montclair had to move there because it's more affordable, and children with IEPs, and I see the trauma that they're going through in the school district that I work in. And they had to move to another town because it was that more affordable. And it's a totally different culture, and it was a culture shock to these children, and I cannot see putting my children through that at all. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crew. Appreciate your comments. Is there a representative from the tenants organization, or are you all individuals?
Hey, how are you?
Excuse me, is there a representative, is there a head of this organization, or are you all simply just individuals?
I'm just an individual.
You're the, okay, go ahead.
How are you?
What's your name?
My name is Gerard Cope. I've lived in Montclair for 7 years, but I've worked in Montclair for 15 years. Used to live in Bloomfield, and I fell in love with this town. At some point, I decided to leave Bloomfield, and I knew exactly where I wanted to move. This is where I wanted to move. And looked at a few places around here, found a beautiful apartment. I've been there in that same building, 2 different apartments for 7 years, and had 2 or 3% rent increases every year, except for this year. Now it's a double-digit increase. There's been no improvements to the building. As a matter of fact, they're falling apart a little bit in some spots, but I'm still happy there. Right? At the same time, I've been a manager of 2 businesses in Montclair. One of them is the Watch Hung Deli, and the one that I manage now is Beljavine's Deli. And many people in this room know those businesses, right? I've added a lot of value to those businesses, right? A little bit of the creative type. I have a passion for food and a passion for people, right? And I got lucky to find an apartment around the corner from where I work. So I gave up my car, and now I can afford to live here. That's starting to change now, right? Even splitting the rent with my boyfriend, who's trying to save for school and finding it difficult, 3 years and not 20% of the way toward finding the money that he needs to get there. It's kind of getting to the point where I might have to leave, right? And, you know, I like the idea that this town is a liberal oasis, that the people that live here want to have a low carbon footprint, that there's small businesses here, that it's a great community of people that know and care about each other, because that's where I came from, where I grew up, right? And it's starting to change, right? It's the texture of this town has changed to the point that I think that what drove people to come here so much in the last 10 years is starting to be defeated. And I see a little bit of a self-defeating cycle happening, right? We're going to build this town up to the point where the attractiveness that initially led to this is falling apart. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to represent myself, my boyfriend, the people that live in my building, and the people that I work for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Petra Kershaw. I am a resident of Montclair. I've been in Montclair off and on since 2009. First time I left Montclair in 2009 was due to unaffordable rents. I was raising my grandson, and I was given 6 months free rent because I had unexpected custody of him. However, once that 6 months went away, I was charged $1,000 a month for a one-bedroom on Elm Street in the Yellow Building, which I'm sure some of you are familiar with. I then returned to Montclair in 2015, lived on Claremont Avenue. Code enforcement was called at least every other month for 8 months. The lease expired. I was paying $11.50 a month. My landlord increased the lease by 35% with no improvements to the building. I left. I am also here on behalf of my daughter, Katie Kershaw. She lives at 20 Monroe Place in the 4th Ward. She's a single mom of 3 children, living in a 2-room apartment, paying $1,500 a month, and with absolutely nothing included. She is, again, code enforcement. In fact, they're coming tomorrow morning because the landlord she's having issues. There's an apartment right next door to her that just opened up for rent. Relatively the same size as hers, $2,500 a month it goes for on Monroe Place. And I'm sure, ma'am, you know what I'm talking about. So we are in Montclair because we love the town. The schools are amazing. The support my grandchildren get is absolutely amazing. We are connected in the community. I'm an active person in the Unitarian Church, my daughter as well. Excuse me, I'm trying to catch up here. Well, I apologize. Oh, so what I want to particularly stress, I'm also a small business owner in Montclair. We pride ourselves in Montclair on diversity, inclusion, and yet the astronomical rents being charged are making it impossible for that to be a continuing existence in Montclair. We need to be able to minimize the percentage of rent increases so that residents who reside in Montclair can stay. As you know, there are so many old timers in Montclair. I am aging in Montclair. I've gone from living I currently live in an intentional community in Montclair, and I rent a room, and that works for me. It's not working for my daughter, so this is on behalf of her as well. The only other thing I wanted to say, too, is that, as I'm sure you're aware, neighboring towns have rent control, and there's absolutely no negative impact has been indicated. So I guess I have said everything I wanted to. I guess that's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Corcoran.
you for coming.
Thank you.
Hi,
Please sign in.
I did it already.
Okay.
My name is Adam Ziering. My husband and I have lived on North Fullerton for almost 2.5 years now. We absolutely love where we live. Not only do we feel comfortable being ourselves here, but we are also surrounded by diverse people, great shops and restaurants, a lively downtown, and wonderful neighbors. Unfortunately, ever since our building was bought by the current landlord, it is becoming financially challenging for us to stay here when there is no rent control. I'm a 2nd grade special education teacher in South Orange. My husband is a tennis coach at a local club. Our landlord is demanding a 10% increase within a year, an additional $65 per month dog fee. And since we refuse to sign the year-long lease, there is an additional $50 monthly charge for us to rent the apartment month by month. This does not include the town parking permits, laundry, and electric and gas. Without rent control, we won't be able to afford our apartment anymore. When the new landlords took over, they cosmetically made the appearance of our building nicer, but they did not tend to what we needed as a building. The elevators in each building are not safe. We are frequently running into issues with washers and dryers. There's unfair parking and unfair storage space, poor management and communication, and they do not treat the tenants with old apartments fairly. For example, I have been having kitchen and bathroom sink leak issues. There have been times when water has spread over my countertops and onto the floors. I have filed at least 3 work orders. Our super, who is very nice, comes every time and fixes our sink. He puts a Band-Aid on it. Last time he told me I needed a new part. Of course, the management did not get me the new part. So, last week I was thirsty at 2 in the morning. I got up, I went to the kitchen to find water everywhere. When I pressed the faucet down to stop the leak, the faucet popped off. This caused a rushing fountain of water that quickly flooded into our sink, over our countertops, and onto the floor. My husband and I turned off the emergency valves. Water was still coming out. We made an emergency call to our super at 2 a.m. We are lucky that he was there, and we are lucky that he is willing to help us by turning off the water in our entire hallway. Oh, and the next day, that's when management decided to get us that new part. If this had happened to a newer apartment, the sink would be fixed immediately. The way these landlords are treating us is unethical and disgraceful. I love Montclair. I would love to raise a family in Montclair. I don't want to leave Montclair. Without rent control and more rights, I might have to leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I may ask a question before you go any further, how many of you are here regarding rent control? Of those hands, how many got a rent increase as a result of a change of ownership that you felt was unconscionable? So about half of you, I would say.
There's only eight people here. So that's four.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
I just want to make one short point. I'm Tony Martin. I live at 41 North Fullerton, and that's where my friend and neighbor Adam was just talking about. We would have more people from my building here tonight, except that the elevator that we have been relentlessly complaining about is not working on one side of the building. So a gentleman who's recently had 2 hip replacements is unable to attend, along with several others who live on the higher floors.
Who wanted to be here. So, my name's Ahava Felicidad. I am the head of, the president of the Tenants Organization of Montclair. We're an advocacy group. More people will be coming to speak on behalf of the community, themselves, their families, in order for us to have rent control in Montclair. The stories are overflowing. We just want to ask that you do consider everything that we're going to be looking at for establishing a rent control ordinance in Montclair, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Antonello Tirana. I'm a junior at Montclair High School. A Montclair resident. I live on Talbot Street. Down. And I started the first skateboard club at Montclair High School.
Yeah.
So I started the club on the morals to grow and connect the skateboarding community here in town, as I've heard people don't realize that there are a lot of skateboarders. And I wanted to create a more fun and safe space for skateboarders to go and practice our sport. Seeing that there was already a large existing skateboarding community here in town, if you cannot tell. So during club, one of the activities is to obviously go out and skate, and this is a planned activity every week. And the best place, safest place for us to go is restricted. There's signs saying no skateboarding, and I can't. All right. So in club, we have around 20 to 30 members, so that's roughly about that many people, all wanting to skate, but it doesn't work when we have to share half of a basketball court, or we get the police called on us for stepping onto the tennis courts. So we need a permanent, safe place for kids and club and other kids in Montclair to go where we will not be harassed. We need a town that cares for all of its people, not by having 33 tennis courts, but just one safe space, one skate park for skateboarders. Around 6 months ago, I created the petition to build the skate park in Montclair. From now to then, we have gotten a total of 3,147 signatures, a majority of which live in Montclair. And that number is continuing to rise every day. This is just one example of all the Montclair residents you'd be servicing by building this park. This skate park could benefit the whole Montclair community and other surrounding communities. Young and old both skate. Families would be able to attend and have events. This could prevent kids from skating in the middle of streets, on someone's private property, getting yelled at. skating in busy parking lots that would inevitably end up with kids getting hurt. So please consider this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Caleb Chambers, and I'm the Vice President of the Skate Club at Montclair High School. During June of last year, I was hit by a car while skating down Chestnut Street, only a few months after I began my journey into skateboarding. As a beginner, there was little I could do as I watched a car come from down the street, speeding from the top of the hill, and knocking me down, just as school had let out. Luckily, I was able to come out of the incident without sustaining any serious injuries. However, luck is not guaranteed. I believe that a skate park is necessary within our beautiful town of Montclair. Not only will it serve as a safe place where everybody from all walks of life can come together and share an activity they all love, a park is a place where this sport can be practiced safely. During our event in October, many people attended, but the largest group there were children. As we stand now within our town, there is no place where these kids can skate without the fear of being kicked out, heckled, or even injured by cars in the street. I'm sure many of you are told to get out of the street playing around as kids, whether you're playing a game of football, soccer, tag, you name it, and go to the places where you're supposed to do these things. Within our town, we are blessed to have a myriad of football and soccer fields, playgrounds, parks, tennis courts, and even 2 ice skating rinks. But skateboarders have nowhere to go. The safe places we once had, such as the tennis courts outside of Rand, have recently had no skateboarding signs put out in front of them. Should we obey these rules, we are given no choice but to put ourselves in danger just to the activity that we love so much. As skateboarding grows within our town, with new kids getting boards every day, is it so much to ask that we may also have a place where we're allowed to do the things we cherish so dearly. I love Montclair, and I love the community of people within it, and I wish that everyone here is able to lead a safe, danger-free life. When a growing percentage of people are being put at risk for absolutely no reason, I say that the necessary precautions should be taken. Well, we found the solution to this, and it's that Montclair needs a skate park. Thank you to everyone for listening to me today.
Thank you. There's a lot of clapping. If I may, but just by a show of hands, how many people are here regarding the skate park? Well, okay. So that being said, we get the picture. I don't think we need everybody to talk, but continue.
My name is Bo Kleiber. I'm a 3rd grader at Hillside School and a Cub Scout in Pac-12. I've learned a lot from skateboarding, and sometimes it's hard. You have to keep trying new tricks over and over again. My mom says working hard and never giving up are 2 really good things about skateboarding. It feels really good when you finally do a new trick. Other skaters have cheered me on and helped me, and I accomplished it. I can't skate in the street or in parking lots because, like older kids in town, because I'm too little and drivers won't see me. If you build a skate park, lots of kids like me will be able to discover skating, and we will be able to do it safely. And I wonder why we don't have one in Montclair. Montclair needs a skate park. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Willow McCarty, and I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak about the skate park here in Montclair. I started skating at age 4. We were living in Arizona, and I saw our neighbor Dave skating down our street. I watched him every day, and when I turned 4, my mom and dad got me my first penny board. I was hooked from the beginning, and it made me feel free and alive. I knew I could make something out of it. Skateboarding is hard. It takes concentration and lots of practice. And these are all good qualities to learn at a young age. Skateboarding also teaches us that making mistakes and falling sometimes and even getting shark bites, that's when your board rolls into your ankles. It is really what life is all about. It's also about what you do after those mistakes. And skater kids, we get up and keep riding and practicing. I moved to Montclair about a year and a half ago. We came from Arizona. There were lots of skate parks. I really miss being able to skate in a safe place. Skating is dangerous for us drivers. The road is shared with bikers, but what about skaters? Some people are afraid that the skate park will be ugly. A skate park can be beautiful. Ramps are like art. in the right place, it becomes a place to gather and enjoy being outside. I'm sure Montclair would be a beautiful skate park to add to our beautiful town. And a little bit about skate kids. We are respectful, helpful to each other, and we support our sport. We don't laugh at each other when we fall. We help each other and get up and keep going. Lastly, skate kids are encouraged kids to get outside and put their phones down and get off the couch with their friends. You can't ride a ramp while playing Minecraft. Does anyone have any questions?
Oh, wow. She's awesome.
Hi, I'm Devin. I started skating after seeing a film called Skate Kitchen, which is about a group of girls in New York City who skate. Throughout the movie, they face people who underestimate their abilities because of their gender. Those situations are based off of real experiences the girls in the film and many other female skaters face. I only started skating last winter, and I've already encountered similar people and I've gotten rude comments. I feel if more people see women and girls skating and being showcased in the skate community, it will encourage and inspire more girls to start skating. And what better place is there to build a safe and encouraging community than a skate park? A skate park in Montclair will truly help many people who can't travel to faraway towns or New York City to skate. I skate in the city pretty often, but it takes a really long time to get there. And having a skate park I don't have to plan to go to or pay for buses and subways to get to would be very beneficial for me and many others. Building a skate park in Montclair will not only bring the community together, the skate community together of our town and towns around us, but it will create a non-intimidating, safe environment for girls and many others to learn how to start skating and not feel judged. Thank you.
I started skating over the summer with my friends, not knowing tricks and learning in the streets of Montclair. Skating is a way of relieving stress from the day, getting exercise, and hanging out outside. But skating in the streets is the only easy, accessible way to learn because the tennis courts are no longer a safe place. Skaters are no longer allowed to go on the tennis courts, even though it's one of the only places that's not dangerous. A skate park would benefit Montclair by giving skaters a safe place to go and would help many young new skaters and provide a place for them to learn. Building a skate park would also put parents of young skaters' minds at ease, as they will have a place to go that's not in the streets where there's traffic. Learning how to skate as a girl has been intimidating and scary if there's no community to go to. Joining the skate club has created that for me, but not everyone has a club to go to. A skate park would also create a sense of community and safety for many skaters in Montclair and around the area. Therefore, giving Montclair a skate park will give parents peace of mind, making a stronger community for skaters, and create a safe place. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Sawinski. I live at 43 Franklin Place. I'm the father of two skateboarders, a member of the community organization Skate Essex, and the faculty advisor of the MHS Skateboard Club. Let me start by saying thank you to the mayor and the council members, Parks and Rec members as well, who made it out to our free skate event on October 26th. It meant a lot to the kids to see you there supporting their hard work and seeing firsthand the positive energy skateboarding can bring to a community. If you didn't make it on the 26th and you've never been to a skate club meeting or to a skate park, let me paint you a picture. There's an energy and excitement that exists there. Kids can't wait to get on their boards. With every attempt at a new trick, skaters are learning resilience as they fall down, get back up, and try again. But what strikes me most is the camaraderie, the support, and the empathy that skaters show one another. While skating, everyone is simultaneously a teacher and a student, learning from each other and sharing tips. And it doesn't matter if you land a difficult trick or are just learning to push and turn a board. When others see you succeed, they cheer for you, and that joy becomes contagious. Yeah. Tonight, I'm here to testify that the kids who show up for Skate Club and the families who showed up for our free skate session and all the people who showed up here tonight are not the derelict skate punks that some want to make them out to be. And yet, that is how our kids are being treated when the police are called on them or when they're harassed skating on the tennis courts. This isn't the story we want for our town. that we've become belligerent, uninspired, and worse, that rather than having conversations to hear concerns and find creative solutions, we put up signs to push people away, to keep people out. Skateboarding has grown into an international sport, with the Olympics holding its first skate competitions in Tokyo in 2020. Across the nation, skate parks are being built, and parks are incorporating skate-friendly sculptures and benches to meet the demand of the rising number of skaters. Here in Montclair, skateboarding is also growing, with Skate Club averaging 30 members, as you heard, who show up weekly. In addition, we'll soon be teaming up with Renaissance Middle School, where MHS students will act as mentors and instructors. When you add to this the more than 150 participants at our recent free skate session, where elementary school kids and younger came out with their families, it is clear that skateboarding is on the rise. This is now the third effort to build a skate park here in Montclair. And it's important to realize that in the time between each effort, skaters haven't gone away, as if it were some fad that kids outgrew. We've only grown. Again, you can see the resilience of skaters, because here we are, once again, making the same request. We know building a permanent skate park takes time, but we need to find a temporary space now where kids can safely skate on a regular basis. The members of MHS Skate Club and Skate Essex have met with Parks and Rec Advisory Committee, Mr. Tim Stafford, and we're ready to offer assistance, whether it be with liability concerns, budgeting, fundraising, or locations. We're ready to be a part of a subcommittee to move things forward. Almost 10 years ago, the council approved the building of a skate park in town, and tonight I ask your recommitment to make this happen. And I also ask, when can we have our next meeting with the council to begin necessary next steps? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carla King, and I live at 6 Glenside Terrace. I'm a Montclair resident, a mom, and a member of Skate Essex, our local skateboard advocacy group. I love Montclair and skateboarding for what they have in common: diversity and inclusivity. I'd like to start tonight by thanking the members of the council for their support in the past for both Skate Essex and the Montclair High School Skate Club. In 1982, my father and stepmother moved to Montclair. I have nearly 4 decades of fond memories here. I've seen Montclair go through many changes in this time. One thing that I hope has not changed is the importance of a family-friendly environment. Unfortunately, recent postings of no skateboarding signs send a message of hostility towards our children. When signs like that are posted, they are understood to be read as skaters are not welcome here. There are no suggestions of alternative places to safely skate, because currently Montclair is not designed as a pro skateboarding environment. But the demand is forcing us to change this. Skate Essex is requesting a subcommittee of the town council to be formed to partner with us and explore multiple possibilities to meet the needs of the skate community in Montclair. The time to do this is now. We need to send a message that skaters are welcome here, and skaters will not be harassed for doing what they love. These are our children. We must remain a community that supports healthy activities for all children of all backgrounds and abilities. A town that recognizes and values the presence of those children who may not participate in traditional team sports. Many children are left out of team sports due to extremely high costs, huge time commitments, overly competitive atmospheres, or the physical abilities required to make the team. For many children, including those with special needs, skateboarding provides one of the only opportunities they have to engage in physical exercise and practice social skills with peers. Parents are complaining that their children are spending too much time in front of screens. When we read of an epidemic of isolation and mental health issues in youth today, as parents, we want options for our children. We want our children to be healthy. Parents of skaters are happy when their children are skating. These kids are outside, getting exercise and socializing. Skate Essex and MHS Skate Club strive to work within our community to promote the benefits of skateboarding. On October 26th, we provided a free skate session. Nearly 200 children gathered to skate. A large amount of these participants were elementary-aged skaters. They have many years of skating in Montclair to look forward to. This large turnout illustrates just a fraction of the children that would utilize a skate park, engage in skate lessons, and sign up for skateboard camps, all of which the Recreation Department of Montclair could be providing. Skate Essex and Montclair High School Skate Club cannot be solely responsible for meeting the needs of the skate community in Montclair. We know from the positive feedback that we have received and from the 3,157 signatures on the petition to build a skate park that we have a tremendous amount of support. A direct meeting with the town council will allow Skate Essex members the opportunity to work with the town closely, so we may introduce you to examples of what successful skate parks look like and how communities work together to build them. If other communities in Essex County, throughout New Jersey, the U.S., and the world have built skate parks, Montclair can build them too. Our diverse inclusive community needs safe places to skateboard. I'm here tonight to ask the town council, do you support a skate park in Montclair? Perhaps we can work with the town council to form a subcommittee to address serving the skateboard community in Montclair. We will agree to a direct meeting with members of Skate Essex.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd just like to identify myself, Councilwoman Dr. Renee Baskerville, and I am in favor of trying to locate a place for a skate park here in town. And I feel that there are some other council members that are in favor, or at least very excited to do further. But I'd like to just clarify some things. As the liaison to the Park and Recreation Advisory Board, I have been working very closely with them and the other groups through them. The way the council is set up, we have X number of council members that are assigned to different groups so that we can cover a lot of territory. And so since the last time when you had the event over at Montclair High School in front and all the children having a great day and safe environment to skate, we realized that we needed to, move this up and try to do whatever we could. So on the, what was it, the 8th? The day before, and I'm hoping you guys got this information. So Veterans Day was the 11th. On Friday the 8th, myself as a liaison from the council, our deputy manager here, and Ms. Michelle Camarada, who's the director of the Park and Recreation Advisory Group, met upstairs for many hours, 2 or 3 hours, specifically for the purpose of identifying a temporary location where you guys can safely skate, because it is really important that while we're looking for that ideal location and hopefully coming up with one, if we get enough support here, that you are safe and that you're not in the streets. And so we came in on that Friday specifically to identify that location. After we had that meeting that was several hours long, and at this point in time, I believe that some of the people that were in that meeting needed more information about the surface of the tennis court. I was fortunate enough to read the information that you guys provided for us about the tennis court surface, so I'm aware of the fact that many of the tennis court surfaces are okay for that. But during that particular meeting, it was decided that some of the people that were present in the meeting needed more information about that surface. So we did not get permission to utilize the tennis court, but we did identify another location specifically so you guys would have a safe place to skateboard. I said, hey, look, it's a long weekend, there's no school Monday or whatever. You guys had school, but I didn't know that. Anyway, we identified a place for you, and the director of the Park and Recreation Advisory Committee, Ms. Marcia Almeida, took that information back, I believe, to the head of the different clubs. Did you guys not get that information? Okay.
So I believe the area that was identified was the parking lot behind the annex building. Is that correct? Yeah, and so the issue with that area is, first of all, it has not been paved in a very long time, and so the surface there is not smooth. There's a lot of cracks, a lot of gravel, really not conducive or safe for skateboarding. In addition, after school, many teachers obviously use that parking lot, and their cars are there sometimes till 4, 4:30, 5 o'clock, parked randomly around. And so again, not ideal for that reason. And then currently, we still have the trailers that are there from.
Yeah, this was just a temporary fix for that weekend.
Oh,
and,
I see.
And I
Okay.
respect
Okay.
what you're saying, and
Yeah.
but I just want you all, because in some of the opinions that are coming up, it sounds as though the concerns are falling on deaf ears, and I really want you to know that they're not. And so, we do need to continue to have the meetings and identify some places, first, a temporary fix, and then definitely look at the long fix. So I'm available to meet. The best day, if you need daytime from me, would be a Friday, because that's the only day that I don't have to go into my office. Otherwise, I have lots of days that I can meet with people at 3:30 before our 7 o'clock meeting, so I'm available. So let's continue the meetings, and for the people that don't know here, let's spread the good word that the council is very excited to meet and to learn more, and it's not that we're not aware of what's going on or the need or the fact that there's many, many people. So I just wanted to let you know that I wanted to identify myself so that you can put a face to a name. I have cards here, whatever we need, and there is a committee. So when you're saying let's do a subcommittee, we have a subcommittee of this council that works with the PRCA matters, and we're excited to continue to work and hopefully to come up with something that's going to make us all happy. So that's all I wanted to share for this moment tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Baskerville,
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for agreeing to meet with us, and I know my husband, Paul, could be available on a Friday as well. We're looking for an audience of more individuals, because the people that we've spoken to one-on-one, we've had great conversations with. I know we're thinking along the same lines, but we're ready to present more information. And for anyone who is maybe on the fence or has never really been to a modern skate park, we would like to go to the next step and do our presentation to everyone, show them the images, answer every question so people aren't lost on old stereotypes from years ago. So that's why we're looking to meet directly with the town council.
Okay, and so, the town council can answer if that's what they want. The other thing that we can do is, do it through the PRCA and host a community meeting to do that, and find a date and time when perhaps this facility was open and you can get more people in. So if you want just this body, we can speak through, Ms. Juliet Lee can try to do
Like to
that.
get on
We
an
can't all
agenda.
meet because of the statutes that we can't all meet. All of the council can't meet. We could do it as a community meeting maybe, but we would have to go through a process to do that. 3 of us could meet with you, which is a subcommittee
Okay.
that I'm offering.
Okay.
And it would be within the laws of the township that suggest how many of us should be present at a meeting of that type. Short of that, if you wanted to arrange maybe some time, the mayor or deputy mayor here could let you know if you wanted a 10-minute presentation at a council meeting. There's some other things that we can talk about. I'd be happy to talk to you about them, and we can come up with something that'll be agreeable.
Okay.
So let's talk and figure out how that works. But when we say 3 of us can come or whatever, there's certain laws that we are supposed to abide by, and we try very hard to do that. But
Thank you for
we're open.
explaining that.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay, yep.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you, Council, for taking the time to hear us out. I am Chris Francois, business owner of Heritage at 30 South Fullerton in Montclair for 7 years. I also serve as the executive treasurer for the Montclair Center Bid and have been a patron and overall fan of Montclair for 20 years, 20 plus years. I've also recently moved to Montclair just over a year ago, so you've got me for the long haul so far. I moved to West Orange in '91, so I don't claim to know a great deal of history about Montclair, but as a lifetime skateboarder and now business owner in Montclair, I believe I can provide a unique perspective. I caught the skateboarding bug early, riding on my stomach down hills on little penny boards by the age of 8. I grew up in a family that idolized doctors, lawyers, musicians, and athletes, but didn't skateboarders. So I played the saxophone, I played soccer, and I did my darndest at school. Skateboarding wasn't really accepted by my family, nor quite honestly by society. From a young age, I knew what it was like to not have a safe space to skate. I grew up as what was referred to as a street skater. So as the name implies, I spent most of my time in streets, skating around looking for spots that had something that would help me progress my particular craft of skateboarding, whether it be one more stair than the last staircase or a higher ledge than yesterday. Long story short, I got kicked out of a lot of locations, a lot of parking lots, a lot of, missed my place, a lot of parking lots, businesses, public parks, tennis courts, and even schools that I've attended. Eventually, with the help of X Games, Street League, and now the Olympics, skateboarding is finally being recognized as a true sport. So naturally, around the U.S., sophisticated skate park plazas are being built to help incubate these athletes, as well as provide a safe space for skateboarders. If we simply present skateboarders as athletes, we would notice that they need a safe space just as much as any other athlete. I'd like to request, like other members of Skate Essex had so kindly requested, that we have a safe temporary space for skateboarders to continue to incubate their craft. I would also greatly appreciate us being put on the agenda for a future meeting to further discuss skateboarding and the building of a skate park in Montclair. I'd also like for a representative to possibly come to one of our Skate Essex meetings to further discuss what we would like to present as a skate park for our town. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jill Kloiber, and I live at 120 Clinton Avenue. And to spare you all the redundancy of hearing the same thing over and over, I'm not going to read most of what I've prepared for tonight, but I did want to share one experience I had recently at the brand-new Colgate skate park in Orange, New Jersey. It opened, I think, a week ago, last Friday. And I've been out there a few times with my boys and their local Montclair friends, ranging in age from 7 to 14 years old. And they had really great experiences out there. But one of the things that really stood out to me was my conversation with an Orange police officer who had just so happened to stop by while we were there. So I went over and I chatted with him, and he told me how happy he was that Orange finally had a skate park, and how tired he and his fellow police officers were of telling the kids in Orange to stop skating. You know, he told me that they're always skating on the library steps, they're skating at the bank, they're skating in the streets. And he said they all hate to tell the kids to stop skating because they were outside, they were doing something useful, they were practicing a sport that they loved, but they had to tell them to leave and to stop doing it. And so now he was really happy that finally the kids of Orange had a safe place to skate together, which was a really great takeaway for me. And I think that, you know, as a member of Skate Essex, we know that the Montclair Police Department feels the same way, and that it's not using their best resources to be called out to stop the skate club from skating at a tennis court. So that's all I really wanted to share. Thank you. Colgate Park.
There's a separate park in West Orange that goes by Colgate, and then in Orange there's a different park. I can email you the address.
Colgate Field and Colgate Park.
Colgate Field is West Orange.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Valerie Pera. I'm a 6th grader at Glenfield Middle School. I have been part of Roots and Shoots since 2nd grade, And for those of you who don't know what Roots and Shoots is, it's Jane Goodall started a club for children and people who want to help change the world, like do something for the world. And I joined in 2nd grade, and I've loved it ever since, and we've done many different projects to help the community, Earth, pretty much, Earth. I would like to start with a quote by Obama. It is, "Change will not come if we wait for some other person or other time. We are the ones that we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek." Millions of tons of plastic end up in the ocean each year. And I'm a believer that we can change that and that we are the change that we've been waiting for. For the plastic bags, the use of plastic bags. Yeah, I would really appreciate if you'd consider about the plastic bags and that they really pollute to Earth, and that we can be the role models of other people that have used plastic. Before plastic, there was glass, and that worked just as well. And so, after we use plastic, a bunch of animals are now dying from plastic. The oceans are being polluted from plastic.
Yes, they are.
So,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is June, and I've been a member of the Edgemont Roots and Shoots Club since 3rd grade. I am now a 6th grader at Renaissance Middle School, and I have a few reasons why Montclair should ban single-use plastic. 1. Many animals around the world are affected by plastic bags. Here's what the Pew Charitable Trust has to say. According to the United Nations, at least 800 species worldwide are affected by marine debris, and as much as 80% of that litter is plastic. Number 2. California, Hawaii, and New York State have all banned plastic bags. Many cities in New Jersey are way ahead of us in making this decision. I know that this would be a change for all business owners and residents of Montclair, but I hope that Montclair decides to join the many cities around the world that have banned plastic bags. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lyle from the Edgemont Roots and Shoots Club. I'm a 3rd grader. I have a few arguments for you. I think you should ban single-use plastic bags because it can hurt the fish and bird, and birds can eat it because they think it's a school of fish. Kids change habits all the time. Adults don't. It might be hard to remember to bring the reusable bags, but it will get easier and easier over time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Isabel Meyer, and I'm a 6th grader at Renaissance Middle School. I'm here because I think Montclair should ban plastic bags because plastic bags and single-use plastics are hurting sea turtles. Some sea turtles are endangered, and plastic bags are making the sea turtles sick. 1 in 3 leatherback sea turtles are found with plastic inside them. Turtles are part of the food web. If you take part of the food web out, the whole thing collapses. That is why you should ban single-use plastics. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening. I am Good evening.
Good
My name
evening.
is Sanaya Thomas, and I am a 6th grader at Glenfield Middle School. I've been part of Edgemont Roots and Shoots since I was in 3rd grade, and I think we should ban single-use plastic because 8 million metric tons of plastic end up in the ocean each year. This means that sea creatures can swallow or get tangled in plastic. If we ban single-use plastic
and use reusable containers, it will help eliminate plastic that ends up in the sea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I am Jacob Lewin, and I am 10 years old and go to Edgemont Montessori School. I've been part of the Roots and Shoots Club since 2nd grade. Thank you for doing what you can to make Montclair a better place and for considering the ban of plastic bags. I don't want any sea creatures to suffer from eating plastic, especially the most majestic creatures such as the sea turtle. Reports from the World Economic Forum have said that by 2050, there will be more plastic than fish in the oceans, and by 2050, we'll be spending 15% of our carbon budget on soda bottles, plastic grocery bags, and the like. Many people in Montclair go to supermarkets, grab a plastic bag, put their groceries in the bag, take the plastic bag home, take out their groceries, throw the plastic bag out, and that plastic bag will travel around New Jersey in a truck or the wind just to be dumped in the ocean. Montclair can help solve this problem with your leadership. Please vote in favor of the ordinance. Thank you and have a good night.
Hello, I am Elias Halpern-Ranzer from Edgemont Montessori Roots and Shoots Club, and I am here speaking in favor of single-use plastic bag ban. First, single-use plastics don't only pollute the ocean, they also pollute the land. This happens when the wind blows bags somewhere and then pollutes that area. 2. Plastic bags are made from non-renewable sources, such as polypropylene, I have no idea how to pronounce that, which is a material manufactured from petroleum and natural gas. All of the materials are non-renewable fossil fuels. Lastly, plastic bags do not degrade in landfills. They will just sit polluting our environment for a very long time. Sum up, we should ban the use of single plastic bags because it pollutes the land, it is non-renewable, and they don't degrade. It is my hope that single-use plastic bags will be banned in Montclair. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, I am Stella Castillo, and I am a part of the Edgemont Roots and Shoots Club. Today I am here to help the banning of plastic bags. Plastic bags are very bad for the environment because they get into the ocean and can choke or poison fish, animals, and birds. As a study cited by the government explains, when seabirds, sea mammals, or fish ingest plastic particles, blocking of the gut is likely to harm or even kill the organism. Also, plastic bags dirty our water so we cannot enjoy clean water. They not only trash the seas but our earth. Plastic bags and other pieces of trash are causing pollution, which is bad for our bodies. Breathing in pollution can cause our lungs to damage over time. Plastic bags are also costly to clean up. Nationwide litter cleanup efforts amount to as much as $11 billion per year. Thank you. I hope you have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Good evening. I'm Kingston Amarhayat from Edgemont Roots and Shoots Club. I'm here to ban plastic bags.
Yeah.
Most of the plastic bags go into the fish, and we eat fish almost every day, and that can make us sick and hurt us too. Mm-hmm. So please ban plastic bags.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Hello, my name is Mikey Hadley, and I'm here in support of the Montclair Skate Club and the Renaissance Middle School Torn Robotics team. In the National Robotics Competition, our team was asked to address an issue in our community. This issue came to us in two forms. The first being problems with car traffic in our town, and the second being a lack of a skate park or a safe skating area in our town. We solved this issue by designing a skateboard parking deck in which there are transition and street skating obstacles on the inside, distributed on multiple levels. We even talked to the superintendent of parking, Emmanuel Germano, and got his 2 cents on the topic. And while this building may never become a reality, it does address real-world issues that affect us in this town. With no other options, kids wind up skating on the street or public property, especially as more and more places are prohibiting skateboarding. So I urge you to support the construction of a skate park in this town. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the entirety of the Town Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I know that some of the Roots and Shoots kids have to leave. I just wanted to commend Miss Darcy for the great work that she does with that club. The enthusiasm that you see tonight is not atypical. They are that way on every issue. Such great spirit and so well informed about the issues. It's a real tribute to you, and we're proud as Montclairians to have that kind of activity going on in our schools. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, I'll just add along those lines, first and foremost, as a high school science teacher, I'm blown away when I see all grade levels, all of our young students coming forward and speaking on these important issues, so thank you so much for that. I also want to note to all of you in the back who just spoke to us, excitedly, we've got an ordinance on there. We've met with many of the big businesses, and they are on board with getting this done. So we're going to be introducing a Part 1, an ordinance that's going to affect our big businesses, get these plastic bans out of those stomachs of those fish that you talked about, make sure we've got some clean waterways, and then, of course, continue through our process to work with our small businesses to also expand that through further conversation to make that happen. So understand that your comments make a difference. It's important. We appreciate you, and thank you for really coming forward. Certainly around the skateboarding issue, as my council colleague noted before, she is part of a subcommittee. I believe it also includes Councilman McMahon and Councilman Russo. I know she's at every meeting to kind of listen to what everyone has to say around this, to identify a location, both temporary and permanent, to find the funds, to figure out all of the different aspects that can then be brought forward to a larger group of us to say, how do we get this done? But know that we are committed to that, and it is through those meetings that we'll have a framework to move forward. So we thank you as well for coming forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
I thank everyone for their comments, and I think the Roots and Shoots people will be most satisfied tonight. If you want to stick around, it's only the second one coming up. Anybody else? Oh, Holly Felber.
Plastic bag.
You want to do a public comment, or you want to talk about the plastic bags?
I actually have a question based on Mr. Spiller's comments just now.
Come on up.
Hello, everybody. I'm Holly Felber. I'm here on behalf of the Upper Montclair Business Association. Thank you for your time tonight. Kids, you guys were awesome, both for the skate parks, the skateboarding park, and for this plastic bag ban. You're eloquent, well-spoken, and poised. I think you all have great futures.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's great that you're learning at a young age how important it is to attend these meetings. Our government is by the people, for the people.
That's right.
So I just have a quick question. Mr. Spiller, you just said that you were going to introduce an ordinance for a first reading.
No.
You did say that. Maybe you misspoke. But you said you're going to introduce an ordinance for a first reading that will then go to a second reading.
It's on for the second reading.
It's on the second reading tonight.
Okay, so tonight will be the second reading.
Yes.
And when was it introduced?
October.
Somewhere like October, yeah.
Okay, so then I'll save my comments for
You'll get it in 2 minutes.
the end. I support banning plastic bags. I have never used plastic bags in my business, as most of our small businesses. So I applaud the town for this effort. Thank you.
Thank you. She has some good bags and some good clothes, too.
Yeah, I just also, too, wanted to also, and again, I want to encourage the Services Committee to meet with the skateboard clubs and the parents and the young people. But I also wanted to, because I don't know what we're going to do this on the agenda, but while we're talking about it, I just want to also commend all of the parents and certainly the young people for their efforts with regard to the skateboarding. park. I've been to some of the ones that get suggested to me. Some of the older ones certainly are not what we're talking about. With the metal, and we don't need that. But as a general concept, I too am supportive of the idea. We're just going to find a good spot for it. And I think we've actually talked about some creative ideas at the park that day that we could take a look at. But also too, it's really encouraging to me when we have this level of discourse. And quite candidly, I think our young people provide an example for the adults.
Yes.
Because you come up and you've thought out what you want to say. You're passionate, yet you are respectful, and you are sticking to the issues. I don't see any personal like vitriol, venom in you. You just have that's something you're passionate about. You want to see happen, and I think that's a real example for. Not only for here, but I think nationwide, I think is the kind of discussion that we need to have, talking about issues and less personal attacks and so forth. So I just want to commend you all. I'm very proud of all the folks here who have spoken tonight. Very impressive. Thank you.
I echo the mayor, and frankly, I've been aware of skate parks and, attempts to have them made over the years, but I was not aware how far this one was along until tonight. And I was hoping one or two of the organizers would give me some of their contact information so we can continue the dialogue. You can give it to Juliet if you have it on you.
Mr. Deputy Mayor, if I may as well, I echo the sentiments of my colleagues, and I know some of you were actually at the ward meeting I held recently, and we discussed this very issue. I, too, am supportive of it. I'm actually at the next step, which is how do we set it up and how do we ensure it to make sure going forward that we're able to do this. So I have to commend the young people, both on the plastic bag ordinance as well as the skate park. It was very impressive. Some of you came up without notes. I don't think some of us, I know I couldn't do that.
The littlest guy came up.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Very impressive. Thank you all for coming out. Well done. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor.
If I can also add, about 10, 12 years ago, my son was an avid skateboarder, and I, along with some other parents, put together a big effort to try to build a skate park in our town, and we couldn't get it off the ground. We had a huge outpouring of supporters, but it just never came to fruition. And I'm just so happy and pleased to see that this effort is still going strong, and all of you, your young men and young ladies, your passion is just amazing. But like some of my colleagues said, to see these two different groups tonight in one night is just incredible. And I hope that the plastic bag, the children and the skate park, the kids see each other together, and you're all one group, and that you're all products of our Montclair Public Schools, which is really quite amazing. So thank you all for coming.
Okay, moving on with the agenda. We have, I think we have 6 pending ordinances on second reading. The first is Amending Ordinance O-19-021, amending Montclair Code, Chapter 347, zoning, Article 23, historic preservation, and Chapter 202, land use procedures. And I so move. Anybody here? Anyone wishing to be heard regarding this pending ordinance? No one from the public. Anybody from the council?
I have a statement.
Juliet has a statement. There you go.
Deputy Mayor, I wish to report that the ordinances have been published and posted, and copies have been made available to the public as required by law.
Thank you. This is a voice vote. Or a roll call. Roll call.
Councilor Baskerville?
Yes.
Councilor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Councilor Schlager?
Yes.
Councilor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes. You have another statement, Julie.
I got to read the next one. The next ordinance is the ordinance prohibiting single-use plastic bags. Ordinance number 19022.
Is there anyone present who wishes to be heard in relation to the proposed ordinance? Holly, this is your turn. Lyle? Lyle wants to go first, I know that.
Good evening. I'm Lyle Landon, and I'm co-chair of the Montclair Environmental Commission, which we refer to as MEC, M-E-C, and I have prepared comments about the large volume single-use plastic bag ban. On behalf of MEC, we are making the following statements. 1, MEC supports the proposed plastic bag ban ordinance 0-1922 for high-volume stores. We estimate that by eliminating single-use bags from retailers covered by the ordinance, approximately 40% of all plastic bags distributed currently will be eliminated, thus providing a demonstrable and positive impact on the local environment. However, MEC regrets that the public communications section in the original ordinance has been eliminated. This provided a framework for how the township will assist retail operators, and more importantly, the public, by referring them to the Montclair website that would contain informational literature and signage for retail stores. Likewise, the clause saying that the single-use plastic carry-out bag ban will become effective 90 days from the effective date of this ordinance has been eliminated. While we support an immediate ban of single-use plastic bags, time to educate the public and allow for a phase-in of new bags is important and appropriate. Regarding accountability and implementation, first we ask that Montclair's municipal government encourage retailers who are making the changes due to this ban to share with the township and with MEC the number of plastic bags that they are no longer purchasing, so that we can quantify the positive environmental impact that results. Second, presuming this ban passes, we encourage the township to ask the New Jersey Clean Communities Council as soon as possible to provide funding for reusable bags to be distributed to the public free of charge. I just wanted to make a little note there, which is there are 88 different towns that have passed a plastic bag ban, and they are all running to this one little spot to get their share of the money. So I encourage you to immediately go for it.
Take note.
Yes. Lastly, we look forward to working with the Township Council and the small volume retailers to develop a plastic bag ordinance applicable to them, and also to working with the Township Council to craft and implement bans on single-use extruded polystyrene foam, such as styrofoam, and plastic straws. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're good to go. Look what we have.
Good evening, Scott Kennedy, 423 Bloomfield Avenue.
Good evening.
I've been here before.
Yes.
Thank you for having me again. I'm a little bit disappointed. First of all, I'm in favor of the plastic bag ban. I'm 100%, and most of the merchants and retailers that I interact with are also in favor of the ban.
Okay.
The problem is that when I was here last and we spoke, we agreed that we were going to put together a committee of merchants and the town and the environmental committee so that we could work out a ban that worked for us on the timeline. And I feel it's been really disingenuous of you guys to declare this a high volume and big box ban. You bandied those terms around in the paper and the Montclair Local, but it's disingenuous. So did you guys actually meet with large retailers? Sean?
We had a meeting with the large retailers in town, yes.
So you had a meeting. Who's we?
Town manager, deputy manager, attorney, probably others.
And who were those large retailers?
The ones as defined in the definition of this clause, places
No,
like Acme,
I'm
CVS.
asking you. You met with them because you didn't meet with me.
Correct, places like Acme and the big supermarkets and so on.
Say it again, please, Sean.
Places like Acme, the big supermarkets, and so on.
Okay, so Acme, Whole Foods, CVS, you met with them?
Correct.
Okay, so those retailers are 20,000 square feet or more? They are not 2,500 square feet. So just to give you an idea, Dr. Cameron's Animal Hospital on Bloomfield Avenue, It's more than 2,500 square feet, as is my shop. Cuban Pete's, Diamond Cycle, Dino's Pizzeria at Watchung Plaza, Egan's, Just Jake's, Williams-Sonoma, the Bear Burger, the list goes on. Those are all shops that are larger than 2,500 square feet. So you call this a high-volume, big box ban, but by dropping the volume down to 2,500 square feet, you've essentially swept all of the businesses in Montclair into that group. And I really think that's disingenuous. In your ordinance, you say high volume, $1 million, you bandy that about. But you have to only meet one of those criteria to be affected by this. So you guys are going to pass this tonight. That's fait accompli. I get it. And I'm all in favor of the plastic bag ban. But you have the opportunity right here and now to do two things that I think that'll go a long way to making it palatable. Change the 2,500 number to 20,000. And that'll include the retailers that Sean supposedly has met with. The large volumes, the CVS, the Whole Food, the Kings, the Acme, those guys. They are not 2,500 square feet. They've got more cash register space in 2,500 square feet. And the last one is eliminate the provisions where we must charge our customers for the bags that we give them. Even if we give them the burlap bags with the handles, the really nice ones that everybody loves, we must charge them. So eliminate the fact that we must charge our retailers, our clients, and bump it up to 20,000 square feet. That includes the big boxes that Sean met, which I think it's really disingenuous, Sean. And if you did those two things, that would go a long way to fixing it. So can we agree that if when you guys say we're going to meet, that means that we're going to meet? The retailers, the merchants, the environmental people, you guys told me that we were going to meet. The bid did not send out a notice that you read anything on the October 29th meeting. No notice was sent out. I heard about this one from Holly in Upper Montclair. And only 2 days ago did we get a notice from the bid that there was going to be a second reading. So I'd encourage you guys to check Sean and ask him to avoid trying to ram these things through, even though we all agreed. So pull the fee that we must charge our customer. I've got contracts with the government, Montclair State, and various colleges. I can't put on my invoices an extra charge. It's against my contract. If I don't put it on the invoice, I'm going to be in violation of this rule. So you've put me in a predicament. And you've listed the various bags that are exempt. Not one of them is the bags that we use at our office. Somebody comes in and buys a $500 print, large format color print. I can't put it in a plastic bag. That's illegal. Somebody comes in and buys a set of blueprints. I can't put it in a plastic bag on a rainy day. That's illegal. Somebody goes and buys 50 balloons from the balloon shop. They can't put it in a plastic bag. That's illegal. Those are the things that would have been worked out if you had properly seated a committee that we requested and you agreed to last time. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. I also thought that the ban was more for the larger users as well, for the CVS, for the Whole Foods, because my understanding was that those guys agreed that they wanted to do it quicker. They wanted to do it before for the holidays coming up, and they were in favor of it. And the purpose of this ordinance was to get something in place that would handle them, because they are such a large part of the production of the bags, of the plastic bags.
And these merchants agree.
Right. And then the second part of this would be the conversations that would be had with smaller merchants to kind of work through some of the other details of a ban, how that might play out. So, and I just fault myself for not catching, I guess I will, or misunderstanding, that I thought it would probably be I don't know, 10, 15 stores that would be impacted by the ordinance. That was my understanding.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too.
You have the ability tonight to change those two items. Those are minor tweaks that are not going to throw you back into the first reading and have to go back. You can tweak it.
Mr. Karasik?
Listen, there would be a substantive change to...
Changing the number would be...
Would making it more restrictive, as it were, because you're going from 25,000 to, I could see it if we were going from 2,500 to 1,000, more inclusive, this is...
It's really a different, I mean, it changes the character. I mean, I'll think for a minute, but I think that it seems to me that it's a substantive change to change the dimensions or the definition of what a high-volume realtor is. And I would stick with that we would need to go back to first reading if we're going to make any significant change to those.
And Mr. Mayor, I might have a question regarding on Mr. Karasik. I know that one of the things that he worked on was to help define what large is to capture, so I'd love to hear how you came up with the numbers to define it, because that was part of the charge of creating this, to capture large business.
Well, by looking at lots of ordinances from different municipalities across the country, and these particular criteria, that's where the criteria came from. But we did put it out there for quite a while, so that people could make these kind of comments, and we didn't get any comments.
Ira said last time when we met before that minor changes, and he listed those minor changes that they could make at that time, would not throw it back out into this first reading. And in what we're asking for is to make it less punitive and to have it impact a fewer number of retailers. Sean has indicated which retailers he's mentioned, and they're all 20,000 or more. So if the goal is to go after the big box, large shop, those changes would not be substantive to affecting those groups. So there's a difference between making, at the last minute, making a change and then violating the public notice disclosure when you're making something more punitive or affecting a larger group. When you're making it smaller, that's different, because we're not adding any more shops or businesses into the affected group. You're making it less.
I'm not an attorney, but that was always my interpretation of that. I don't know.
The standard is not how punitive it is. The standard is the impact, how substantive is the change of the impact of the ordinance. And if you're going to, listen, if we're going to change it to go from 2,500 feet to 20,000 feet in terms of the size of stores that are covered, that's a substantial change in the impact.
But it's not impacting any more stores. It's impacting less. The same ones are still being, right, those same stores will be impacted. They're still going to be captured.
And those stores have already agreed, as per Sean, to be included.
Well, I think also specifically, that's what we noted at every meeting. That's what we have made clear at every meeting, and that was the intention. I believe, Mr. Stafford, you were there as well, to capture those businesses. So
I encourage you to take a vote with the amendments and then pass the bag ban. I agree with the bag ban. It's bad for the environment. I get it. But there's also a process, and there's a democratic process.
Thank you, Holly.
I can only give you my opinion. But that is my opinion, that it's a substantial change.
Why?
It's a substantial change because it creates a major change in the impact that this ordinance is going to have.
But it lessens the impact.
I mean, you've candidly, Ira, you've made that argument before in other ordinances where you said if you made it less impactful, then it's not a material change.
Well, but it's a different. I have made that argument, but it's an ordinance. It's a case-by-case basis.
Sean, you can sit there and you can make all the ayes you want.
Excuse me, we're having a discussion.
And that,
Mr. Kenny, please. Ira's talking.
what exactly is the change we'd be looking for? So let's go back and take a look.
Right.
The definition of high-volume retailers defined as retailers that 25, instead of 2,500 square foot of retail space, we want to change that number to 20,000?
I'm assuming that.
I mean,
is
I'm
that
trying to
in-
get what,
I don't know, what is CVS? I don't know.
Or 10,000 or 15,000, whatever, something that's bigger than the average store.
But CVS, the ordinance also includes shops that have more than one location under the same name. So even if CVS was 15,000 square feet, they've got 2 locations in Montclair at least.
Three.
Three. So that pushes them back into the group.
Well, they are in the group.
May I ask a question? Ira,
Yes.
does this new version of an ordinance have substantive, that's correct, substantive differences from the initial ordinance that was presented last summer?
It's not a matter of, it was a matter of, we're comparing it to what was published in the newspaper.
Right, was this version published in the newspaper?
Yes.
What day?
The version, the clerk would have to answer.
It was published on,
In other words, the version, the change that we're talking about is a change from the version that was published, and that's the issue.
So this
Is that
version
change
was
from-
not published in the paper?
It was.
this was.
The original version was published on July 4th in the Montclair Times.
Okay.
No, but it was reintroduced after that.
Right, so can you tell me which issue? And then Ira, did you call any stores in Montclair to talk to them about their square footage?
Did I call any stores? No.
No. So just let me ask you procedurally, whose responsibility is it to put the nuts and bolts into this? Is it all left to the town attorney, or is there input from the councilman? How does this work?
Well, Holly, it's really on a case-by-case basis at some level. Sometimes a council person may have more knowledge about a subject than not, or than one of our staff members even. But in this case, I can only speak for myself. I was under the impression that the ordinance that was being passed was only impacting the big stores.
The super big stores.
Yeah. And
that
so
actually use the plastic bags.
much more so than others. That was certainly my impression, or my understanding. And if I missed that, then that's my fault and not a good job on my part for missing that.
The Montclair Antique Center is 4,500 square feet. The Gap in Upper Montclair is 2,500 square feet. So there's a lot more businesses that hit 2,500 square feet or more than you initially think of. And I must say, I'm disappointed because when we had that town council meeting in August, I believe, Mayor Jackson, and you tasked us, the business owners in the community, to work with the Montclair Environmental Commission and Mr. Spiller, we were excited. We thought, wow, we can have an impact here. So we've attended the environmental meetings. We were there on 9/11. We spent 2 hours waiting to discuss it when someone on the commission got a text. Oh, guess what? You sat here for 2 hours, but maybe we shouldn't talk anymore because we've been told now that the council has met with the larger retailers and they've all come to an agreement. On October 25th, we received a copy of this version of the ordinance from the Environmental Commission with an invitation to come to the meeting on November 13th to discuss and work out details. We showed up at the meeting on Wednesday, but before we got there, we found out there had already been a first reading on October 29th. And I think the real shame of this is that we could be discussing an ordinance that would apply to any size business that uses plastic bags. We could ban that immediately had we had the opportunity and the respect of the council to actually do what was tasked
Well, I don't think it's fair to say that you didn't have the respect. The idea of bifurcating the ordinance was to adopt something that everybody agreed on, that the big guys would be
Right.
immediately.
And is there a way we can?
Let me
yeah.
finish. So that when the big guys who said, we want to have a ban, we're in favor of it, we can move immediately. So the idea was, okay, for 50-60% of the volume that we have, we can take care of that right away. There are a lot of good issues that were raised by UMBA, by the bid, to concerns relative to some other issues. And the idea was, okay, now that we've gotten that part of it out the way, the 60%, let's have some conversations and meetings and discussions about everybody else and see how we can, what's the best way of doing that. That was the spirit in which this was done. It wasn't to exclude anybody from a conversation or anything. It was, what can we do quickly, which was the 60%, and the other piece was, we knew it was going to take a little bit more time, and we wanted to be inclusive, and we wanted to make sure everybody had a voice, so that's why we were putting it aside to have the meetings that you and Scott are referring to.
Right, so it's a shame that no businesses were consulted other than, can you give us the names of who you met with?
I don't have all the names offhand, but I can certainly say this. I think the mayor is exactly correct in his assessment of it, and I think that's all of our understandings of it. We had a number of very large entities who came forward who said their only request was that they would do this immediately. They are full supporters of the plastic bag ban without sharing many of the concerns that the small businesses have brought forward with exceptions or exemptions or reasons we shouldn't ban some of the pieces around it. As they're supportive, as the mayor noted, our goal was to capture those individuals. The attorney was charged with crafting language that captured the big businesses, and this is what he came up with. So here we are, attempting to figure out exactly what that number is, as I highlighted, or it's been highlighted, a difference there in that number, and as the mayor noted, and all of us have looked at, it states exactly what we had thought it stated, which was to capture the big businesses that we talked about. That's why we asked Mr. Krasik what he's come up with, and you're hearing the discussion around how that could be captured to intend exactly what it was.
What I've been doing is trying to calculate the distinction between, the number of people covered here. And, Mayor, I hear your point, because we have in the past, when we've restricted the coverage of an ordinance, have not considered that to be a substantive change. So that is true. And maybe, I just want to make sure that if I can, I have to have a principled way of basically making a distinction that we could make the changes that apparently the council believes to actually make the language of the ordinance follow what the council's intent is here, which is to cover the big stores. So first of all, let's talk about an actual number. If we went from 2,500 feet to, say, 10,000 feet, would that do
I think it
what we
might.
needed it to do?
10,000 square feet is a pretty good sized store.
I'm trying to come up with a number that would accomplish the intent of the council.
I can guarantee you that the combined CVS's, the Whole Foods, Acme, King's, the large retailers that you're talking about, they are all 50,000 square feet or more. 50,000. So 20,000, to me, excludes almost all of the small retailers. Those people that you specifically said that you were going to gather together to craft something. So 20,000 is a good differentiator. You're not going to find a small business with 8 or 10 employees who's got more than 20,000 square feet. Pig and Prince was probably one of the largest because of its cavernous space. So,
Well, there are no restaurants pretty much that are greater than 20,000 square feet.
20,000.
I move we amend it to
20,000
20,000 square feet.
second.
I don't have a problem with it.
Second.
Second. Holly, would you want to speak?
Yes, so I have another question. So if this passes tonight, when do you anticipate it being put into effect?
20 days from tonight.
It takes
20 days?
20 days, correct.
Okay.
Well, no, there's language in there that says 90 days.
Yes.
No, it's
No, the
effective-
language was
it's
removed.
effective immediately according to law,
Which is the 20
20-day thing.
20 days, okay.
Right, we wouldn't be,
Okay.
It's the estoppel.
So then, just a little question, because here we are on November 18th, and all stores have already bought all of their bags for the holiday season, and there's no clause in here that you're allowed to use up any of your existing stock of bags.
But it doesn't apply to you anyway.
It doesn't apply to me, but it applies to,
CVS,
right
to a
now, at
bunch
this
of
time of
people.
year, everyone already has their supplies in-house.
But it only applies, if this pathway is amended, it only applies to the big guys. And
Right.
the big guys have indicated they're good.
furthermore,
They're
the
not, they're not worried about it.
the manager has the discretion to be able to extend the time if there's a genuine, somebody proves a substantial reason in order to delay the impact. It does have, the ordinance has that feature.
Okay,
Oh,
so,
Oh, I'm sorry. But in that same paragraph, on the last sentence, says full service, full line supermarkets that have an annual gross sales of $1 million during a previous tax year, which sell dry goods, canned goods. Does that have any effect on the size of, does it have to have a $1 million cap? Or within that
Well, I think that was.
amount of money? Does that have any?
The ordinance said anyone.
Meets one.
If the shop meets any one of the three criteria.
Oh, I see.
Or,
Okay.
and it says or on here.
Okay,
Yeah, or.
thank you,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, I see. Or have at least relocation, got it.
so
Okay.
then, so if we're understanding that correctly, someone could have $1 million in sales, but only have 4,000 square feet
Yes.
and still fall under this
Yes.
ordinance.
The way it's written.
That's correct.
Yeah.
If they're a grocery store, or could they be any kind of store?
They're a grocery store.
So it's specific, the $1 million is specific to supermarkets?
Correct.
It says,
Okay.
yeah.
It says supermarkets,
Dry
yeah.
goods, canned goods, not, yep,
But this says
supermarket.
retail pharmacies with at least 2 locations in Montclair, or supermarkets, the supermarkets,
Okay.
which have that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I look forward to working with Mr. Spiller, since you're spearheading this, the Montclair Environmental Commission, who's been wonderful to the businesses and sharing all the information with us, and crafting another ordinance that would apply to small businesses. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What I will do, members of the council, is prepare a written memorandum to support the change.
Okay, so we need to vote.
I think we can
And
have
we
a
have an
principal.
amendment.
I think that could be done at a principal board.
Okay, so for clarity's sake, the amendment is changing the 2,500 square feet in the definition of high-volume real estate establishment to 20,000 square feet.
Okay.
And, okay, now I move that I move the amended ordinance forward.
Second, with the appropriate language wherever it may be repeated, because it's several times in here, you know that number.
It is.
Yeah.
So
Juliet?
now we're going to roll call for.
Comments?
Yeah, just
Oh, yes, I'm
council
sorry.
comments.
Council comments.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Given the change.
Come on up.
Herbert Meyer, 6 Carteret Street, also the parent of one of the Roots and Shoots Club members. Just curious, with this proposed change to the ordinance, it was estimated that the ordinance as introduced would reduce plastic bag waste by 40% in town. Once you make this change, what's your estimate of how much plastic bag waste will be reduced in town? And will it make any substantive difference?
It's the same target.
Same
It's
target.
the high-volume retailers.
But you're excluding retailers that are smaller than 20,000 square feet, is that correct?
We're going after the ones we targeted, for example, the Kings, the Whole Foods, the
They were
CVS.
included.
So there will be no change in the environmental impact by amending
I
this
think
ordinance?
de minimis.
Okay, thank you.
Good job, Sean.
Council comment.
No, I just one quick comment. I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for pointing out that discrepancy, and I, too, Mr. Mayor, followed along the same lines as the mayor did, so thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you. Also want to note, again, as the last public comment was just made, want to appreciate the students who came out and all of you who are advocating for this. I think tonight is a good example of the discussions around plastic bags, the conversations that passing something that many other towns have already done is not so easy, but yet we move forward step by step, piece by piece. And again, happy to see that we're able to move forward with something that has a positive environmental impact. We know that action is what speaks, and here we are pushing through something, again, in an effort to make sure that we are having that difference. If you truly believe that the environmental crisis that we face is a crisis, then you have to act. The time for conversation has come and gone. The time for action is now. That is what this is about. I am pleased that we were able to sit down with willing partners to get something done, as the mayor and my colleagues noted, to affect a large number of the percentage of the large percentage of the plastic bags that are going into our environment. So it is in that spirit and with that same conviction that I know we will all continue to work to do even more. But Montclair always has, always will, and must remain an environmental leader. That means conversation, and it means action. So I thank all of you who are here speaking tonight in support of this plastic bag ban and who will be willing partners moving forward to make sure we do even more. So I thank all of you. Thank you.
I'd just like to join the rest of the council in thanking our amazing students. It always just fills my heart with joy when students come before us and share, and tonight was a wonderful example, and not only did they share, they did so eloquently and passionately, and I'm appreciative of that. I'm also very appreciative of Mr. Kennedy and Ms. Holly for coming and helping us realize what happened with this particular ordinance and how we needed to address that. And it's really important that one of the things that I like most about our government in Montclair is that a lot of times we talk about participatory government and we never get to see it work firsthand. And one of the reasons I think that I love Montclair and our form of government and the things that we do here, because so often, and tonight is a perfect example, so often we do have examples that we can share with our students, with our children, families, and others of a true participatory democracy. And so I'm just grateful to be able to be here providing service, and that people are recognizing that the way things happen in this township are when everybody has a voice and we respect one another even if we have differences. So I'd like to thank you all for coming out and sharing. And Mr. Kennedy and Ms. Holly, I don't see her, she might go on. I'd like to thank you as well. Oh, there you are. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, thank you.
Okay. I'd just like to note that the skateboarders have stuck around after the business
Oh,
is
the
done. So
skateboarders, yeah.
A little lesson
I
in
got the
civics for you.
t-shirt. Got the T-shirt for
Wow.
you guys.
I just wanted to thank the rest of the Montclair Environmental Commission. They've
Yeah.
been working on this for a year, and they have steadfastly continued to look at all the agenda and plow forward, and we appreciate the fact that we've been able to develop a better relationship with all the business communities, and I think that will help us accelerate further progress. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, Environmental Commission.
Any other comments from the council? Ms. Lee?
Yes. Councilor Baskerville?
Yes, the amendment.
The amendment? Okay.
Yes, to the amended
Yes.
ordinance.
Councilor Hurlock?
That is what we're voting on, correct? The amendment?
Right.
Point of clarification. Thank you. Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Councilor Schlager?
Yes.
Councilor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes. Okay. Now I lost my... C.
Okay.
This is an ordinance amending Montclair Code Chapter 130, drug-free zones. Juliet?
Councilor Baskerville?
No.
Oh, I already
Yeah, she read that, I
I read
think.
it for all of them.
Oh, for all of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Took care of it all of them?
All at
Yes.
once.
Okay, all's good.
Yes.
Councilor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
We didn't have anyone here regarding ordinance C. Anyone want to be
Drug-free
heard?
zones.
No, anybody from the council want to be heard? Okay, now we can vote.
Councilor Baskerville?
Yes.
Councilor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Councilor Schlager?
Yes.
Councilor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes. D, it is an ordinance amending Montclair Code, Chapter 327, Section 15, regarding overnight parking, and I so move.
Second.
Anyone present who wishes to be heard in relation to the proposed ordinance? Seeing no one, anyone from the council? Ms. Clerk?
Counselor Baskerville?
Yes.
Counselor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes. E is an ordinance amending Montclair Code, Chapter 51. Is there anyone here present who wishes to be heard in relation to the proposed ordinance? Seeing no one, anyone from the council? Ms. Lee?
Counselor Baskerville?
Yes.
Counselor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes. F is an ordinance amending Montclair Code, Chapter 327, Section 16, parking prohibited at all times, and I so move. So move.
Second.
There we go. Is there anyone present who wishes to be heard in relation to the proposed ordinance? Seeing no one, I'll close that. Council?
No. I'm
Renee?
Good. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Counselor Baskerville?
Yes.
Counselor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes. G is a new business ordinance. It's ordinance amending Montclair Code, Chapter 327-16, parking prohibited at all times, and I so move.
What was this covering? I forgot.
Anyone?
Second.
Oh, actually, this is us.
Oh, yeah, on the,
Yeah.
for the fire department.
Any council comment? See, no one? Okay.
Okay. Counselor
Clerk?
Baskerville?
Yes.
Counselor Hurlock?
This is the first reading, correct?
First reading,
Yeah.
yes.
I'll do it on the first reading, yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes.
Okay.
Next, we have the consent agenda. Does anyone have any issues with anything on the consent agenda?
Yes, I'll ask that we, just so I can answer, see if there's a further update, and I may have missed it, from the crosswalk
Bless you.
that I'd sent the question. So just-
The gentleman, when I spoke to him this morning, said that with the inclusion of his two recommendations, he had no other comments or concerns.
Oh, good. Then I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, so items 1 through 7 are asterisked. I so move.
Second.
Voice vote?
We usually
Roll
do
call.
Okay. Counselor Baskerville?
Yes.
Counselor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes. 8 is a resolution authorizing, can't quite remember, the amendment of the, can't read my thing,
Of the not to exceed amount.
of the not-to-exceed amount of the 2019 Parks Maintenance Service Agreement with Custom Care Services, Inc. And I so move.
Second.
Counselor Baskerville?
Yes.
Counselor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
You can pass me for the moment, please.
Counselor Schlager?
Yes.
Counselor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes.
Just for number 8, I just want to, I'm sorry, just want to get a better understanding for the increase.
The weather promoted the growing of grass more than we've experienced in previous years. So while we estimate reasonably based on the last 3 years, how many cuts we'll need in each of the parks that are maintained by this contract, by this contractor, because of the weather, we experienced an enormous growth in our grass in our parks, and we had to cut them more. We still have remaining in the parks that are covered by this contract the fall cleanups, and in order to do that, the fall cleanups, we would need this not to exceed amount increased.
Just concerned about our ability to do that, actually. Our ability to increase, I guess you got 20%.
Oh, so to your point,
20%.
That's a non-issue, and I'll tell you why. It's a good question. In our bid specifications, we specifically say that the amount of cuts that we anticipate is for comparison purposes only. In other words, so that bidders can bid, but we reserve the right to go up or to go down, like we do in snow contracts. We do a snow plow contract and we say, hey, look, based in previous years, we might need you to do X. However, we might need you to do 10 times X or 1/5 of X. We do the same in this contract. And so therefore, the 20% normal threshold does not apply, and we can amend this as we need to, based on reasonable necessity.
Thank you, sir.
If we change the rate, it would address your issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
There you go. 9 is a resolution rejecting bids for the purchase and delivery of 12-inch, 8-inch, and 6-inch Class 56 ductile iron pipe. And I so move.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilor Baskerville? Yes. Councilor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Councilor Schlager?
Yes.
Councilor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes. Councilor Schlager.
Yes, thank you. Whereas invoices against the Township of Montclair in favor of the following persons for the amounts set opposite their respective names have been received, duly audited, and found correct. Therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Township of Montclair in the County of Essex, said invoices be and they are hereby ordered paid, and that checks be drawn by the Finance Department to the order of such persons for the amounts respectively and thereafter stated on computer printout attached hereto and made a part hereof. This bill list is dated November 18th, 2019, for the amount of $8,534,227.11, and I so move.
Second.
Councilor Baskerville?
Yes.
Councilor Hurlock?
Yes.
Mayor Jackson?
Yes.
Councilor Schlager?
Yes.
Councilor Spiller?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMahon?
Yes. All right, we have to go in executive session before that. Comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, well, a couple of things. One is, for the students here, you just heard a number of $8 million that we're spending. Our budget's about $90 million, so this is a portion of that money that's going towards some capital dollars too. We're just paying bills. We're authorizing the CFO and the manager to pay bills. That's what that bill list was about. But the second thing I just want to say, I don't know, I sense what's the word I want to use? I can't think of it, but a lack of fulfillment, if you will, on a part of our skateboarding guys. And I sense that they want some more direction or clarity with respect to what we're going to do next.
Well, we are going to review our packets here.
Okay.
They gave
And I know there's going to be a meeting with services, right, with the...
Hopefully so, but we've been directing this through the Park and Recreation. Marcia Almeida has been attending the meetings with them, and we have committees that have been very active, and so hopefully the Services Committee will too. I certainly made sure that they had my contact information, and I'll be able to, so I think that they understand the thing. With clarity, I can say again, I'm available almost any time on this coming Friday for a meeting. If there's a period around between 3:30 and 7 within the next couple of days, I can make myself available.
Would it just be you, or would it be the subcommittee?
No. It's whoever of the subcommittee is available, and if all of the members of the subcommittee aren't available, then we can reach out and invite other people. I know some of the other council members have mentioned that they're interested as well.
So I'm definitely going to be in touch with you. We want to get a meeting as soon as possible so we can start moving.
Just once you all are clear on when that is, if you send me the date, I'll certainly do everything that I can, and I'm sure my colleagues will do everything that we can to ensure that at least the three maximum that we can have there at that time will be there. So we'll try to juggle it, but just give us, a date and a time, because I know you guys have other things going on too, and I don't want to say, well, hey, come meet me tomorrow at such and such a time, and you have activities. So I am willing to try to, adjust my schedule so that you guys we can have a meeting and bring in 2 other colleagues.
All right, great. So
all right.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're a good leader, young man.
Yeah.
Madam Acting Clerk, do you have anything for us?
Any comments?
No.
Comments?
Oh, no comments.
Mr. Stafford?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I have three things, and I'm mindful of the hour and that we have executive session. The Township's annual holiday tree lighting and festival will be held on Friday, December 6th at 6 o'clock p.m. in our Church Street Plaza. Also, our Montclair Community Band Autumn Concert will be on Sunday, November 24 at 3 p.m. at the Montclair High School Auditorium. This is a free event sponsored by our Recreation and Cultural Affairs Department. And lastly, certainly importantly, our Health Department continues to offer monthly immunization, skin testing, and blood pressure clinics. Several are tomorrow at their regularly scheduled interval times. Anyone seeking more information can find it on our website. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Stafford, just you may want to mention the time of the tree lighting.
6 p.m.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Attorney? Any comment?
Where's the tree lighting?
Deputy Manager?
No comment, Deputy Mayor.
Counsel?
Yeah. I'd just like to congratulate our Health Department. I'm really proud of the great things that they're doing and taking an active role in many areas. Tonight, I'd like to highlight the fact that tomorrow afternoon at 1:30, they will have the first of a couple of Narcan certification clinics going on right here in this township, and I'm going to participate. It was open to the first 25 people that signed up. You come in and you get a certificate and an opportunity to learn more about when to administer and whatever. I'm just really proud of our team for taking the initiative to do that and opening it up for anyone that was interested that came in with the first 25 people, and that's just one of the many examples of the things that I think that we're doing an amazing job with and trying to get out in front of, some issues that are plaguing communities, and, it's a good way. Be prepared. We're doing a lot of other things in terms of education and things like that, along with the school district, talking about the opioids and the ill effects and vaping and some other things. I've been privileged to host a few of the vaping discussions, but I'm happy to be a part of this team that is really moving forward in a positive direction to address some of the issues that are not only in the community of Montclair, but all over on the rise. So that's it. I mean, so often we don't celebrate the different parts of our township when they're doing amazing things. So I just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you. Next, anybody else?
I was very pleased and happy to attend Imani's 20th anniversary party this past Saturday night. Imani is an amazing organization that actually had a chance to work with them in my previous job, and I applaud the efforts of especially Joanne McCullough, who started Imani 20 years ago and had this vision, and it's an incredible organization. I'd like to ask a question, if I can, Manager. I got an email from Buddy Evans from the YMCA recently, and there are 7 lamp posts in front of the Y all along Park Street that there's no, the lights are out. And he supplied me with the numbers. He went out at night with a flashlight and got me the numbers. So in the meantime, since Mr. Evans sent that, when I drive around at night in our town, we have so many street lights that are out, so many. And I know that the police department very often says the first line of defense against crime is lighting. Is there any way that, it's because like Mr. Evans went out with a flashlight, it's hard to, it's a catch-22. You don't know that the lights are out till it's dark. You can't get the number on the pole. Is there any way that, maybe you could think about it, any way we can have an effort townwide
Oh,
to...
we do that on a quarterly basis.
We do?
We have a consistent rotation of evening code enforcement officers who go out, look up, and inspect the lights. The frank reality is PSC&G takes absolutely no responsibility for them,
I
and
know.
unbelievably, their process for getting the lights fixed is to have the township use their normal reporting system, like I would at my home for the street light outside
Right.
of my house.
I-
We
me-
literally
me
have
too.
to enter into the system the poll
Poll
numbers.
number.
So we
Yep.
have,
Yep.
on a consistent basis, I believe 2 nights a week, code enforcement officers, the township divided into, I believe, 4 quadrants, and they consistently look. Now, if
Great.
7 are out on that street,
Yeah.
that might be a bigger issue that we take that information and we send it to our liaison for
Okay.
a review. So did he enter the numbers in? If not,
He did not.
so
He
please
sent
give
me
them.
the number, the
Please
list.
give them to me.
Thank you.
I will give them
Mhm.
to our code enforcement office. We have a particular person who's designated to keep a log so that if something's not repaired in a certain amount of time, we can say, hey, look, we entered it in the system on this day at this time. What's been going on? And sometimes there is an. Sometimes it does happen that they come and fix the light and it goes out again. There's a bigger more systemic problem than
Sure.
the bulb.
Sure.
So please, pass me that and I'll be happy to have that done tomorrow.
That's great news. I didn't know that we had that, and thank you for that explanation. I will. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Mayor. I appreciate that. A couple quick things. We had another ward meeting on November 7th. It was well attended, even though it was a cold, rainy night over at the Bellevue Avenue Library. I want to thank again my friend and colleague, Mr. Brian Scantlebury, for coming out and assisting with questions and answers that night. Had a nice visit with the Friends of Barnett, who were here from our sister city. I know many of you had also attended the events, and then a special tea party that my daughter and I attended in London and Barnett the other day while I was there visiting her for her college junior semester. And before we get any questions, I paid for my daughter and I to go there. So just want to make that clear. Had the pleasure of speaking to the Montclair State University Political Science Club on the 12th. It's a great group of students. We had a nice conversation. It was a lot of fun. Of course, many of us were at the Veterans Day ceremony, and I just wanted to also thank Reverend Melissa, who pinch hit for us and did a wonderful job, literally on the spot, who came out and well appreciated. Reverend Jackson, you did a good job with the opening prayer. I just want to say that as well.
Bless you, my son.
And then, of course, I know many of us attended the Seniorama on the 7th, and that was also a great day with a lot of really good programming. It's Montclair is alive and well, and we're doing good things out there. And I also want to say thank you to Mr. Deputy Mayor for your leadership at the helm this evening in the key seat there, and I thought you did a nice job. Thank you. Thank you. John?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'll just briefly note, just wanted to certainly give a big congratulations to Vanguard Theater. I know a number of us, Mayor, sat next to you at the gala. Really just a wonderful event where the students did such tremendous performances. I know, performance after performance, we just kept looking at each other going, oh my gosh, just totally amazing. So really wonderful to see a great event for a great cause, really. The pillars that they stand for are so important. So if you didn't get a chance to go to the gala, certainly go to their website, Vanguard Theater, and if your son or daughter is interested, if you're interested as a student at home, be sure to check it out. 'Tis the season, so I know there are a number of organizations doing toy drives, certainly around the holidays here. There are, again, a number to choose from. Whatever it is that you're interested and involved in, just keep an eye out. It's certainly important that we give to those who maybe could use a little bit of a helping hand. Certainly a happy Thanksgiving to everyone as that day approaches for sure. And I'll just close out by giving a personal thank you. I've just been overwhelmed and humbled by the fact that the governor did name me as one of the 4 public members on the Public Bank Board, and I'm just so appreciative of that honor and distinction, and I thank him for selecting me for that service. So I certainly just wanted to note that. So,
Congratulations,
thank you.
Sean. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Kind of blew me away. So
we come to you for loans? Is that what it is?
You're not the first person to ask that, Mayor, but we'll see. I think the answer is no.
I think so, too, but...
Congratulations all, and this, I would thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to sit in your seat. I have, I have the utmost respect for it. It's renewed, and it's just a little bit more after sitting here. It's a little different perspective, and I really appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure. You did a good job.
And thank you.
If I just one more thing, I just wanted to, I missed the Monty, I was a little bit under the weather, but also that night, Lockadere had their gala for their 100th anniversary, and wanted to congratulate them on their 100 years, and they're continuing to thrive and to be a great credit to our community, so I wanted to congratulate them as well.
I'd just like to also congratulate Amani on their 50th year celebration, and I was late getting there because I was being honored as one of the 6 hidden figures as a physician, a leader, and a person in the community that provides community service above and beyond. And I was really excited to have been asked to give a keynote address among a room full of about 400 or 500 women that are in STEM that have done just amazing things. And it was just a wonderful opportunity, and I'd like to thank the forum, the Williams Forum for Diabetic Research and Education that invited me there. And it was amazing. So I'm grateful for having had the opportunity. I'd also like to say that I've had the privilege of serving on the Amani board for about 16 years, and during that time they just get better and better with what they do, and that's provide academic tutorial expansions, enhancements, and raise the bar for students in terms of their academics in so many ways. And I'm grateful, and if I had more time in the days, I would still be on the board with them. So thank you, Joanne McCullough, and for the rest of the board members for everything that you continue to do.
Congratulations, by the way, on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations. Yeah.
I'd like to take this opportunity. I would be remiss if I didn't bring to you guys' attention that we have someone here who has a birthday. It's our very own township manager, Timothy Stafford. So I would like to wish him a happy birthday.
Depends on what kind of cake he has. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Before we go into executive session, I'd just like to note that Councilor Russo's mother is not doing well, so just please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. We all
When are we
know
gonna
of her, and she's over
see the
100 years
zoning
old.
board people.
So,
I think that's
what we're going to bring them in now?
That the purpose of the executive session was to talk about council appointments, personnel issue. Yes, sir.
But okay, so they're coming into the executive session? Okay.
ready? Yep. Okay, whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975 permits the exclusion of public from the meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be resolved by the Council of the Township of Montclair in the County of Essex as follows. 1, the public shall be excluded from discussion and of and action upon the hereinafter specified subject matters. 2, the general nature of the subject matters to be discussed are as follows. This one's personnel, I believe. We do not anticipate the matters will be discussed will be made public. This resolution shall take effect immediately, and I so move. Roll call. Or do we, voice vote? All in favor? Aye. All right. Quick break and...
That's so rude.